He terrifies tanks and can even take down big knights. That's right, today we're talking about the new and improved Void Dragon. If, like me, your local meta is pretty vehicle heavy, then you need the Catan Shard of the Void Dragon in your lists. Let me explain why, starting with the stat block. Stats wise, it has a lovely glow up to its movement. It's now 10 inches instead of 6, so it can really get around the battlefield better. It's got a toughness of 11, a 3-up save, 4+ invulnerable save, a massive 16 wounds now, and also is leadership 6+, and has an OC of 4. In terms of unit composition, no surprise it runs on its own. It costs 310 points normally, or an extra 20 points if you run it in the new Pantheon of Woe detachment. More on that later. And base-wise, it's on an 80mm base, just a little bit smaller than the new Nightbringer. Looking at keywords, it has monster, character, epic hero, and it also has fly and Catan Shard of the Void Dragon. I'm sure by now you all know about the new improved stat line, so we won't dwell any more on that. Let's start looking at the Wargear. We'll start with shooting and the Spear of the Void Dragon. This has a 12-inch range. It's D3 attacks, so it's a little bit swingy, but you are hitting on 2s. It's only strength 8, AP 3, and damage D6 plus 2. But it has the anti-vehicle 2+ keyword, so that means regardless of the toughness of a vehicle, it's wounding that vehicle on a 2+. The Void Dragon also has the Voltaic Storm ranged attack, which has a range of 18 inches. It's D6 plus 3 attacks. You're hitting on 2s again. It's strength 7, AP 1, and damage 2. In addition, it has the Blast and Sustained Hits 2 keywords. So if you're firing this into large blobs of infantry, you can really rack up those hits. Moving to melee, we'll start with the Spear again. You get 5 attacks, hitting on 2s. It's strength 12, AP 4, and damage D6 plus 2. However, again, it has the anti-vehicle 2+ keyword here, which means regardless of the toughness of the vehicle, you're wounding it on 2s. It also has a sweep profile, where you are getting 10 attacks, hitting on 2s, and this is still strength 8, AP 1, damage 2. So you can do some real damage to 2-wound minis like Marines. And if that wasn't enough, you are also getting some extra attacks from those tail blades. This gives you 6 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 6, AP 1, damage 1. And this only gets even better when we start to dive into the Void Dragon's abilities. We'll start with the core abilities, and as you'd expect, it gets reanimation protocols, and also has a fantastic Feel No Pain of 5+, making it even more durable. On top of that, it has Deadly Demise D6, and now, importantly, Deep Strike. That makes a huge difference. While we're on abilities, it's worth remembering this is an enslaved star god. It's a shard of a Catan, so this unit cannot be your warlord. And it gets the Catan ability of Necrodermis, which has had a change. It no longer halves all incoming damage, it just reduces damage by 1. But this is still pretty good. But by far the best ability is its unique one, which we'll come on to now. This is called Matter Absorption. At the start of the shooting phase, you select one enemy vehicle within 12 inches. Roll a d6, and on a 2+, that vehicle suffers d3 mortal wounds. And, in addition, the Void Dragon heals by that amount. So let's say you rolled a 3, that's 2 mortal wounds, the Void Dragon heals 2 wounds back up. Fantastic. Catan are already pretty hard to take down. They require an awful lot of attacks before you can destroy them. So this ability can actually help you keep your Catan on the field for much longer. And almost the more vehicles it eats, the stronger it gets, and that's really powerful in my opinion. Looking at how to play this unit, it's a tank hunter. It's incredible into vehicles. That 10-inch move helps you get closer to those vehicles much quicker. And of course, rapid ingress is your friend. Use that stratagem to position and then attack those vehicles and take them down. If you find yourself facing an opponent who hasn't brought any vehicles or very few of them, there are still ways to get the most out of this model and make sure it pays for its points. It's a marine killer. The Voltaic Storm is damage 2, that kills marines. The sweep attack with the spear is damage 2, and if you're dealing with Space Marine characters, the strike attack on the spear is perfect. What about best detachments? Well, I've picked 2 standout ones for you, and I'll explain why. The 2 detachments I think it works best in are Pantheon of Woe and Hypercrypt Legion. It can work in other lists, but these are the 2 that I think are the strongest. Starting with Pantheon of Woe, again, this is probably close to an auto-include for me. I think the first names down on my army lists in Pantheon of Woe are the Nightbringer and the Deceiver, but the Void Dragon is a close third. It synergizes incredibly well. All of the strats work really well. Obviously, it synergizes with the army rule, and you have to spend an additional 20 points, but you get the Animus Damper, which is really quite cool. And again, this kind of fits in with the Void Dragon's anti-vehicle ethos. So, how does the Animus Damper work? Well, it takes place at the start of your opponent's shooting phase. You select one vehicle anywhere on the board, but it has to be visible to the Void Dragon. And you make that vehicle -1 to hit any of your units. It has to take a leadership test at -1, and if it fails that test, all of its shooting attacks this turn will also be -1 to wound as well. So this can significantly reduce the efficiency of your opponent's tanks. I mean, imagine putting that on a Repulsor Executioner. The other detachment where I think this works well is Hypercrypt Legion. Again, only one strat applies here, which is the one to use your reanimation while you're off the board. But Deep Strike and Uppy Downy really combine well. You can get this to exactly where you need it to be. You can bait and switch your opponent so they think it's going to be in one part of the battlefield, and then you just simply transfer it to another. And also it can force your opponent to change their target priority. They have to refocus fire on the Void Dragon, which can save other units that you might need to score points, for example. So that's 2 detachments. I do think it works in others, but those are my favourites. And let's look at a couple of the strats from them to explain why. We'll start with some generic stratagems. Rapid Ingress, 1 CP, the best 1 CP you'll ever spend. This enables you to deep strike in at the end of your opponent's movement phase. So you know where your opponent's moved. If they make a mistake, you can deep strike the Void Dragon in close to their vehicles. And then in your movement phase, you can then go and do what you need to do. Obviously, don't put it close to enemy tanks where they can shoot it. It needs to be out of line of sight. The other one that can help is Heroic Intervention for 1 CP. So you can charge a unit that ended a charge within 6 inches of you. And the reason why this is useful is particularly when your opponent is trying to kill a unit, they might throw a vehicle in there to tank shock one of your units. If it ends its charge within 6 inches of the Void Dragon, then you can charge that unit, and all of a sudden that changes the game. Moving on to Pantheon of Woe, it's Disharmonization Cascade. It's 1 CP, and on a 3+ you get to Deadly Demise instead of on a 6. Really useful if you've been surrounded by enemies and you need to take some last wounds off anything. Well worth a CP, I reckon. From the same detachment, I think you should look at Molecular Erosion. Now, for 1 CP, you can force an enemy unit to take a Battle Shock test at -1, and if they fail, they suffer D3+1 mortal wounds. Just another way to chuck out some mortal wounds here, and again, just to finish something off. In Hypercrypt Legion, as I mentioned, there's only one strat. It's Reanimation Crypts. It's 1 CP, and it triggers your RP while you're in reserves. But that can be very handy to put some much-needed wounds back onto an injured Void Dragon. That's how to play the unit. What about how to defeat it? First and foremost, I guess don't take vehicles. That's quite hard if you're a Knights player, but without being flippant, if you do take vehicles, you absolutely need to keep them away from the Void Dragon. You need to make sure you take it out before it gets anywhere near you. You can also try and feed it chaff, but it's got so many attacks in melee with the sweep and the extra attacks, that's actually quite difficult. It's probably going to kill most things that you put into it. The safest way is with big guns, and obviously with guns with melter damage, that you want that additional damage. The higher the damage, the better. It will chew through those 16 wounds eventually. Lethal hits would also help. Anything that's got high volume of lethal hits. If you've got any AP on there, let's say it's AP1, that's putting a Void Dragon on a 4-up save. It's a coin toss to save each one. Volume of fire will do damage. Last but not least is Anti-Fly. Now, I know not every faction has got access to this. I know some factions, like for example Space Marines, have got some vehicles and guns that can do this. Anti-Fly will help because it bypasses the high toughness of the Void Dragon. That pretty much covers how to play this unit. Hope it's given you some ideas, and also how to deal with it, some of its strengths and weaknesses. If I've missed anything or you've got any other suggestions, please let me know in the comments. As always, I'll try to reply to all of them, but let's try and share any good ideas we can with the rest of the Necron community. In addition, if you want to buy the Void Dragon, or indeed any other Necrons, I highly recommend Loaded Dice. They're an award-winning independent gaming store based in the UK. They have a fantastic website, they offer pretty good discounts, and the service is great. I will leave an affiliate link in the pinned comment to this video. Please use it when you're shopping to buy your 40k. It really does help support the channel. The other way to support the channel is to become a YouTube channel member. And I'd like to say a shout out to all of my Patreons and YouTube channel members. Your support really does help keep the lights on here. I am deeply grateful for it. Your name should have appeared on the screen by now. Thank you again. It's much appreciated. That about wraps things up. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, please leave us a like and a subscribe, and look out for the next unit review coming soon.